up, Pep?
Yeah, we're starting to have more and more like real conversations about sports, about games. Actually, some of these leagues, whether it's Major League Soccer, whether it's the NBA, like they're gonna look differently. The
Right.
way they're formatted, the leagues, the conferences, like they might look more like little tournaments. Like if you're a fan of March Madness, and I'm a huge fan of March Madness, I love that stuff. It might look more like that because you have to condense an entire season over the course of a couple of months. So let's start with the NBA because now, in fact, today should be the day where they ratify and vote on what the NBA season, at least the remainder of it, is going to look like. And it looks like it will be at Disney World in Orlando. But here's the wrinkle to this, guys. So they're projecting that it'll start July 31st and end in October, and it's going to include 22 teams. So those teams that are on the fringe of making the playoffs, they will still get a chance to make the playoffs, and it's kind of a weird formula, but if you're within striking range of a playoff spot, for which it would be the number 8 seed in your conference, you'll get to play a total of what would be 8 regular season games before you get to the postseason. And there's even talk about not even going by conference, that all the teams would just be seeded depending what your record was. No Eastern Conference, no Western Conference. So this would be an absolute far cry from what we've been accustomed to in the NBA.
But it is such a different time. It's a perfect opportunity to try something a little different.
Now, is anybody coming out and saying anything negative against the NBA plan? I haven't seen anything yet. I mean, it seems like they were able to appease LeBron by giving him the 8 games to warm back up there. It seems like they were able to appease Damian Lillard by giving him a chance to make the playoffs.
Yep.
No, and I think you're exactly right, 40, because think about the teams who absolutely did not have a shot to make the playoffs. And the one I think of is the Golden State Warriors this season. And they came out and said,
Right.
what's the purpose of, let's say, Golden State coming back? They have no shot of making the playoffs. Why would they come back and just play a couple games just to play a couple games? So now the teams that are outside of the playoffs but still striking range, and I bring up the Sacramento Kings because that's my team, but like teams like Sacramento and I think New Orleans and Memphis and Portland, those teams, they're going to have some super meaningful games. Actually, if you're the Lakers, you'll probably use these 8 regular season games as just kind of a tune-up, a training camp once again, kind of get your legs underneath you. But if you're Sacramento or New Orleans or Portland, man, this is going to be a battle because you're fighting for that last playoff spot. Those games will be meaningful.
That is the beauty of it. It is. I love it. The NBA, they have a plan. They have set it in motion. It's time for the other sports to follow suit.
The big question I'm wondering, though, I haven't seen anybody talk about it yet, is will the Brooklyn Nets get Kevin Durant?
I know.
Will he be able to come back?
The word was no.
I hope not.
I mean,
that's what I heard.
That is a huge advantage if all of a sudden they get Durant for this season.
Yeah, the Eastern Conference still, with or without Kevin Durant, I think most people would say the Milwaukee Bucks are probably the best team. But yeah, if Kevin Durant comes back into the fold for Brooklyn, the East would look a lot different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I don't know. We've talked about this between, let's say, NBA and Major League Baseball about some of these significant players who had major injuries and the pandemic bought them extra time. And, for example, Shohei Ohtani of the Angels, we talked about him. He wasn't expected to pitch until, well, right about now. And here we are right about now. And he could be ready to go like a Kevin Durant.
Yeah, that one works out for LA, so we're okay with that one, but not Durant.
He could be a problem.
We'll take Shohei, though.
People are already, though, penciling in the Lakers in the finals. And think about this, guys. So if they took the conferences, the Eastern and Western Conference, and they said, we're doing away with it, we're just seeding the teams by your record, how cool would it be is if the Lakers and the Clippers were on opposite sides and they actually met in the NBA Finals? Because that couldn't happen in the traditional format. They're both in the West. That could not happen. But maybe with this format, they could.
Perfect.
As soon as you said throughout the conferences, that's my dream matchup right there. Let's get a Clippers-Lakers NBA Finals.
We are living in wacky times. Why not do something wacky with the NBA playoffs and do something different? This is their opportunity, and who knows, it might turn out really, really well, and they might, find some things that worked well that they could use still going forward for the NBA playoffs. Maybe to bring in new fans or increase their, viewership for those TV games.
It's true.
So the NBA is in full motion, and again, they are voting today, so something could happen as early as today for the NBA and that plan. We're also going to get the Major League Baseball, the latest there, and it's not good for baseball. It's all brought to you by Matheson Gas. They are the gas professionals. They have 3 locations across the Inland Empire: Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, and Riverside. So if you need gas, check out Matheson Gas online. The website is mathesongas.com. Whether you're trying to fill up that propane tank in the backyard for the barbecue, or you have a business that operates needing gas, we're talking about hospitals, breweries, all kinds of places use gas, go to Matheson Gas. They are the gas professionals. They will hook it all the way up. So the latest on Major League Baseball is this. So the owners have rejected the players' proposal, which would be a 114 game schedule. That's a long season. The owners turned around and they're thinking more of like a 50 or 60 game schedule. And here's the deal. So, based on a lot of what I've read and the homework I've done, is the owners are concerned that if we have a long season, like 114 games, it's going to go into the winter flu season. And they will get towards the end of their year, which would be playoffs, World Series, and they would have to shut things down again. That's their concern. They would rather get all of the games in, get the postseason in, and not worry about this current Major League season spilling into November and being canceled or shut down once more.
That makes sense to me. And the further it goes deeper into the year, it starts affecting next year. So I'm actually on the owner's side of this. Let's get it done. Less games.
One of the things I think the players were throwing in there too that the owners rejected was that the players wanted to be able to back out of the season at any given time and still get paid.
Right. So if the owners were like, no.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't show up for work, I wouldn't get paid. I'm just saying, like, if I wasn't out there working, I wouldn't get paid either. So, so the owners, they want a shorter season, get the whole season in, and the players want a longer season. And the players probably want a longer season because if they're going to prorate those salaries, the more games they play, the more money they're going to get, if that's the case.
So are we anywhere near baseball looking like it might come back?
No, baseball is continuing to fumble it. They're still squabbling. So, I mean, that's the story. It's funny. We keep reporting the same story. Like, okay, the NBA, looks like the NFL is getting together. Baseball, nope.
They just can't get it together.
Nope.
No, and 40, here's the scary part. So the owners rejected the Players Association proposal of that 114-game regular season schedule. The owners rejected it. The owners did not counter with a proposal of their own. So there's like no deal on the table. There's nothing. Like both sides said no. Like, I don't like your proposal. What's that meme with the two Spider-Men?
Right,
pointing at each other. Yeah.
Basically they shut it down. They didn't give a counter, so they're at an impasse right now. So they're basically going back to square one with starting a brand new negotiation now, trying to figure it out.
It's like they're getting each other's proposal, not even looking at it and sending something back.
You're exactly right, and it does not look good for baseball. They might not have a season. I mean, I hate to say that. I can't believe here we are in June, and they still have no plan, but that's where we're at. This is where we're at right now for baseball.
I actually think the owners are going to win this one.
All those eggs, let's throw them in that Lakers-Clippers basket. Come on.
we might have to. Hey, guys, and finally, just a quick local note. So we have the Major League Baseball draft next week, and because of the pandemic, they've shortened this draft down to just 5 rounds, which might sound like a lot, but it's normally 40 rounds. And we've got some great local high school and college baseball players that were hoping to start their professional careers, but with 5 rounds, that makes things a challenge to hear your name called in those first 5 rounds. But we do have some great players. We're going to keep a close eye on that because that's always a special day, special week when we have local baseball players signing professional contracts. But again, just 5 rounds, and it starts next week for the Major League Baseball draft.
Right, and that's really tough. That's picking a pretty small group of people.
Real
Right.
small, man. I mean, really small. So I don't know. Maybe it'll look different going forward, and they'll have another chance to do it in the year, a year after. But I don't know. Nobody knows. More questions than answers right now.
Pep, tell me how to get your stuff.
It's all over Inland Sports. We're all over social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We got the YouTube channel as well. We're gearing up. Yes, we are gearing up for the football season. So if you want to hear about football, we've got it.
Thanks, Pep.